calendars for March 30th, because that is going to be the game of the season, and we'll get to why right now. Welcome everybody into a very spontaneous live stream, and the only reason I'm live is because we have got breaking news here, and that is a major update on Auston Matthews and his health. And I'm going to waste no more time. I wanted to get most people in here right now. You can see his stats up on screen, and we'll get to the injury update now. Most people already know. If you're tuning into this, you know exactly what's going on. But I want to get to the specifics of the injury, how I feel about Radko Gudas, and how I feel about the team. And I want all of you guys to throw how you feel about the team, because things have changed over the last 24 hours. And, you know, a lot's going down. A lot's going down right now. Let's get to the injury update, okay? So Auston Matthews, let me make this full screen for you guys so you can read it. Auston Matthews is out for the season with both a quad contusion and a grade 3 MCL tear. So he's done. He's done from, you know, what he sustained, that hit knee on knee from Radko Gudas in last night's game. He is done for the season. Now, in terms of the injury itself, there's a couple things I want to get to. It's not the worst case scenario. It's not great, obviously, but it's not the worst case scenario. So a grade 3 MCL, excuse me, oh my God, tear is a complete tear of the MCL. So obviously not ideal, although it doesn't look like anything happened to the ACL or the meniscus. So in terms of that, we've avoided the worst case scenario, which is nice. That's a good thing, I guess. Now, in terms of what that looks like, by the way, some visual aid for you guys here on live stream. That's what the button. That's what we're looking at right here in terms of what that looks like. A grade 3 tear is a complete tear. Now, again, it's not the ACL, it's not the meniscus, it's not the PCL. Like, he could have had a career-altering outcome here, which I don't think this is. And in fact, if the Leafs were in the playoffs race, he could probably play in the playoffs this year. Like, he could probably be back in terms of what this is. I was hoping it was only going to be in that he was going to be able to return a quad contusion, which is just a bruise of his quad muscle, basically, which is what it looked like. And there was a doctor that did a video about that, and he thought that that was all that was going to be of this. But obviously, he's tore his MCL. So not great, obviously. And again, that's what that looks like for you guys there. The timeline to return from this, again, is like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. They're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks because there's a real possibility he could need surgery. Probably won't need surgery, but he could need surgery. And that would be a whole other thing as well. So we've avoided the worst case scenario in terms of it's not a PCL, it's not a meniscus, it's not an ACL. He's torn completely his MCL, and he has a bruise in his quad as well. So he's done for the year. It's over. That is the update. I want to get to a couple other things, and obviously you guys are going to be very active in chat as well, but the tank is definitely on. I hate to make it about that. I hope Auston Matthews is okay, and obviously it sounds like, you know, obviously you never want to tear anything. Like, it's not a, you know, a good scenario here, but at the end of the day, you know, he's hopefully going to avoid surgery, hopefully going to avoid like any career altering, you know, something that's going to affect his skating in the future, anything like that. But again, we're going to have to see in 2 weeks because they'll reevaluate him in 2 weeks. I think if they were in the playoff race and it looked like they were going to make the playoffs, he could probably still play again this year, but they're going to shut him down. There's no point in this guy coming back. This shouldn't affect, it should not affect his off-season training, but again, we'll see. We'll have an update again in a couple weeks. So that's what that looks like right now. That is what a grade 3 MCL, for those of you, for some visual aid for you guys to imagine what happened there on the impact of that play. That's why he got up on his own. He left the ice, but this is a very painful thing to happen to you. And obviously he was kind of helped off, but that's the update we got right now. So that's the official release from Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So that is what it is. So let's get all the thoughts. Let's go over it, guys. Put everything in the comments now. Let's hear all the, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who are not Leaf fans in this chat, as you know, of course, that are going to say that was Matthews' last game as a Leaf. I don't believe that for 1 second, unless the organization wants it that way. But I don't know if they're going to move that direction this quickly. We can talk about it on stream, of course, as well. Also, keep in mind, for those of you keeping track of the tank, with Auston Matthews, this is from Dom Lecision. With Auston Matthews out for the season, Toronto's chances of picking in the top 5 this year jumped from 12.7% to 19.6%. They have a 20, again, this is just based on like whatever, but about a 20% chance of picking in the top 5, which is perfect. You get your pick back. That would salvage a little piece of what the garbage of this season has been. That would salvage a little bit. Maybe you can get Keaton Verhoff finally you can get another defenseman back there that can make a difference, or maybe, again, I'm just spitballing here. Maybe, I don't know what's going to happen in the draft order, but I don't know if McKenna's like a sure thing at first overall. Ivor Stenberg looks very good as well, but this is where we're at. So profit, exactly. It's not the worst case scenario. I mean, in terms of getting your knee completely blown up like that, this is not the worst case scenario. In fact, he could probably start training again like in May or whatever if he wants to get back on the ice. Like, it's not a big deal. I think they're mostly shutting him down because it makes no sense for him to come back. Why would you, after an injury like this, play again with the season lost? You're not making the playoffs, so it's over. So it's fine. Gudas also ruined Team Canada with the Crosby injury. Now, I thought that was a little bit less dirty than yesterday. Yesterday was a blatant knee on knee, like not even close, man. Just a garbage hit. So that's where we're at. That is where we're at. Jose, thank you very much, Jose, with the $10 donation. Ironic here with Auston Matthews. He's out for the season. You can see the super chat. Thank you very much, Jose, for the $10 donation. I'll get to your comment now here as well. And let's just play and see what happens. That's what it is. And I mean, I want to get to March 30th in a second as well. I mean, this is not fun, man. Your captain is done for the year, and nobody stood up for him in the moment. There was a response in the third, and I thought it was great because I got into it. My blood was pumping. I wasn't on the ice, so that was fun. But that's where we're at. So for anyone who's just joining, Auston Matthews is done for the year. And I think I was going to stream tonight anyway. I was thinking about streaming tonight anyway to just talk about what happened last night because it's not sitting well with me. It's really not. And I've been all year up until this point, guys, on do not trade Matthews or Nylander. And then last night made me sick to my stomach. It did. That hasn't sit well with me all day today in terms of being a Leafs fan and what I've seen in the past. I was watching highlights earlier this evening of 2013. The playoffs in 2013, right before the hope was stripped from all of us in Game 7. Game 6, when they took the lead 1-0. The crowd was insane. Electric. And there's none of that anymore because I don't think anybody believes in this team anymore. And they don't stick up for each other. I don't think they care for each other. It doesn't look that way. Maybe they might. I don't know, but it doesn't look that way. So, Mark, to answer your question, we can get into that now. So this is what the hit looks like, right? Up on your screen. This is what the hit was. This is insane. And the player that it is. Like if, I don't know, give me a player. If Easton Cowan did this, you'd be like, well, he's never done this before. It's a bad hit, but he's never done this before. Radko Gudas. Injuries follow this guy around like his own shadow. I said it yesterday. Injuries follow this guy around. He loves to injure players. And does he play on the edge? Yeah, and I could appreciate that with some players. This is a dirty play. He was way out of position, and he flew back knee first into a superstar in the league, whether you like it or not, whether you want to agree with it. And I know it's a what have you done for me lately business, but it's a superstar. Throws his knee into him. He's only going to get a max because it's a phone hearing that he got today, and we don't have a decision on that yet. I haven't heard anything yet. I thought it would come down already today, but he's going to get a max of 5 games. That is it. Like, I don't even have a word for it. I don't have a word that I can say here. I want to keep it PG for that. That is so unacceptable, honestly. Go back and watch. Matt Rempe got 8 games for something that I think is a lot. It wasn't good, but this is a lot worse than that. And Matt Rempe got 8 games for it last year. This guy has lost almost $1 million due to suspensions in his NHL career, and he's a repeat offender. He's done this before. It's insane. I would ask the Department of Player Safety to reconsider. Obviously, they're not going to do anything, and they probably don't even know I exist. But I would ask them to reconsider, and I would also like to say, for those of you who watched their video earlier, if you were to make a top 3 ranking of people who are bad at their job in the entire world, George Peros, I don't know if he's one, but he's on that list. He's on that list. So it's awful. And I'm saving it because I see some people saying the team didn't stand up. You got to do something. I'm saving it. I'm trying to get there. I'm going to get there in a second. I have thoughts. I feel literally sick today after what I saw last night. And it's a really weird feeling. Like, I left confused like I do every year with this team. Like I do every year. Crazy. Crazy. Anyway. Gudas should be suspended for like 12 games. Actually, no. I'm glad that he's not getting suspended for 12 games or something stupid. Because I want him to play March 30th. Because the Leafs play the Ducks in Anaheim as they go on the West Coast road trip at the end of the month into April. That game, before I get to all the stuff that happened last night and what I think needs to happen with the team, and obviously everybody has their thoughts, and shout out to almost 400 of you in here right now on a random Friday night where we learned that Auston Matthews is done for the season. I hope he's okay, by the way. You know, it's a painful injury that he sustained, and I hope he's okay, and I hope he can resume off-season skating, all that stuff shortly. So, Radko Gudas is getting a max of 5 games, which you might not even get 5 games. You might get less. Now, March 30th, you play the Ducks. You should sign guys. I'm being serious. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen. And I'm not trying to say, like, you should dress an entire lineup of goons and just beat the shit out of everybody the entire night. But I am kind of saying that. Like, Pizzetta's got to be in. The directive's got to be clear. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, what the name is on the back of your jersey, or what number you wear. From the drop of the puck, first of all, Joel Quenneville better know that he needs to start that game, Gudas, on the blue line. And he's got to answer the bell immediately. Like last night where Pizzetta fought a second in, immediately you're fighting. Immediately. And then it doesn't stop there. You're going to come out of the box, and the next time you touch the ice, you're fighting again. You took our captain out for the year. You are fighting again. You're not even going to see the ice that night. You might as well ride the bench, right? Like you got to go after the guy. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Or anybody on that team. Like the Ducks are probably going to make the playoffs. You got to let them know you're not just going to get a free ride into the playoffs right now. I'm not saying to end anybody's career or anything like that, but you're going to know that you played us tonight. So that's just how I feel about it. Any level of hockey, any level, even what I played growing up, when things like that happen, you didn't just skate away. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, March 30th. That is, if Gudas doesn't play or if he's healthy scratched, somebody's getting it. That's the other thing, Mark. If he's a healthy scratch, like if they play chicken like that, Seneca's gonna have to get it. I'm being serious. Like that's just the way it works. I'm not saying that it's a good thing or whatever. Like, oh, you got to go after a rookie. Somebody's gonna get it that night. That's just the way it works. And it should be. And if you're a Leaf and that doesn't happen, get off my hockey team. Get off the team that I cheer for after something like that happens. Get off my team. We don't know how long Gudas is suspended for yet. Nothing's come down yet. But there's the schedule, ladies and gentlemen. March 30th, circle it. There's games in between, by the way, that I really don't care about at this point. Maybe that game in Ottawa. Cool. Sure, you're playing the Sens. Cool. Awesome. I'm so excited to watch that game. Outside of that, I'll wait for March 30th. We'll be covering everything here on the channel for you guys, but I'm waiting until March 30th. Now, here I want to get to a couple things I want to point out. So this is Matthews' final stats for this year. He played 60 games. He had 53 points, so almost a point a game player. Not a great year. He also went 12 games without a goal, by the way, in that streak. Didn't hit 30 goals. Didn't even hit 30 goals. And at the end of the day, won the Olympic gold. Hope he's okay. And that he can return to being 100% after this injury, because obviously not great. So Auston Matthews, guys, out for the year if you're just joining us with a grade 3 MCL tear. Completely tore his MCL. He also has a bruised, or I guess contusion's a little bit worse than just saying bruise, but of his quad as well. So that's where we're at. Gudas will only be suspended for a maximum of 5 games. That is not it. Sorry. So he's having a phone hearing today. I guess he already had it. There should be a decision made soon. And that means that he cannot, as you can see on your screen here, he can't be suspended more than 5 games. Can't be suspended more than 5 games. Shout out to almost 500 of you guys in here right now watching along. Nice to see some familiar faces in there as well. And I'll get to the chat as well in a second. But this is from Chris Johnson. Sorry, on the specifics of Radko Gudas. So in his career, almost $1 million given up in being suspended or fines. Almost $1 million, $750,000. And he's been suspended for 21 games in his NHL career. And he's going to get a max of 5 games here. Might not even be 5 games. It could be 3 games. Whatever it is. I just don't want it to be as many games as until March 30th. He needs to play in that game. And somebody's got to beat the brakes off of him. That's it. Like that. I don't care. That's what has to happen March 3rd. There's one thing left for this Leafs team. 2 things left for this Leafs team this year. Ensure you get a top 5 pick. Because if you don't, if Boston gets like the 6th pick, failure is not even the word on the season. Failure is not even the word. Ensure you get a top 5 pick, and somebody's got to pay on March 30th. Those are the only 2 things left for the season. That's all I want to see. That's all. What's left? That's it, man. It's over. It's over. So let's get into the other stuff. Let's get into the other stuff and what happened last night. Okay. Hit happens. The hit happens, right? And then nothing happens. Gudas is able to get up. The ref comes over and grabs him. They're going to the box. Matthews is on the ice. Matthews gets helped off by a 6'5" defenseman the Leafs have that has done nothing when all of this happens this year, including Anthony Stolarz getting run over by Mason Marchment, including the moment like this. He's done nothing. I don't know what happened to the Brandon Carlo that played in Boston that, beat you up, right? Don't know what happened to that guy, but he helps him off the ice, whatever. Nobody does anything. Nobody does anything in that moment. Gudas is afforded the opportunity to leave the ice without anything happening with him because he sustains that 5-minute major penalty. And he's able to leave the game without anything happening to him. There was a response in the third period. There was, and I want to get to that in a second. But first, we have to get to the comments from William Nylander and Morgan Rielly, because Morgan Rielly came out after the game and he said, "It's on me." And by the way, he wasn't even really asked. He came out and this was like a statement that he said right away. So he didn't see anything out there. This wasn't a response to something. This was right after the game. Nobody really asked him about it. And he came out and said this. "It's on me for not responding earlier to Gudas. It's a dirty hit. I didn't understand how bad he got him in the moment, which is a lie, by the way. And we have I don't have to bring it up. Everybody saw it on Twitter or everywhere today. They both saw it. But I take full responsibility for not being the one in there." If you look back at the video clip, Nylander puts up his arm, man, like faster than the ref. He saw it happen. And even if you didn't see it happen, Gudas is on the ice and Matthews is on the ice. In my head, if I was on the ice, I would go, clearly, the guy who injures everybody and who has done things to us in the past did something. I'm going to at least take his helmet off. At least rough him up a little bit. Like, come in and just pretend, man. Pretend. I hate the fact that they even came out and said this, because it just makes it look so much worse in the moment, man. It makes it look so much worse in the moment. Paul, thank you so much for your donation. Paul, from the West Coast, with the $10 donation. Thank you so much. For the super chat, I'll get to your comment here. Gudas should have had his lights punched out after the gutless hit on Matthews. I agree. If anyone touched Gretzky back in the day, Semenko destroyed them. The Leafs have no heart now, and that's the problem. And everybody should probably thumbs that up, because that is the problem, and it's been the problem for a while, and I want to get to that. I'm getting there. I'm getting there, guys. Promise, I'm getting somewhere here. I'm getting there. Also, 1993, Dougie's coming into the zone, gets smacked in the head with a chicken wing by Marty McSorley, and Clark comes right in and starts throwing hands. Right in. He didn't even think. The only thing he thought was, I'm going to throw hands right now. I'm going to throw hands right now. I'm going to beat this guy's face in because of what he just did. Rielly and Nylander were looking at the play. So the comments are almost even worse. I would have rather them come out and said, "I don't know why I didn't do anything. I really don't. Like, unacceptable." That might have been better. Or not even address it. I don't know. To come out and say this after we can all see that you saw it is so bad. Is so bad. And Carlo not doing anything. Everybody on the ice, besides Cowan, does not get a pass for me. Because Cowan's a rookie, and then he fought anyway. And if you watched any London Knights games over his tenure, you know that this guy is a dog. A dog. Who is being neutered on this team. right now. Makes me sick. This has not sat well with me all day. All day. And I want to... Okay, so let's touch on some stuff. By the way, this guy, Gudis, was allowed to leave the ice last night. No problem. You heard it from a couple fans. Oh, cool. No problem, though. Leave the ice. That's fine. I'm getting fired up. Then you have a scrum. The third period starts. You start having scrums. The guys are playing like they actually give a general shit, right? All of a sudden. All of a sudden. Couldn't have done this in October. Couldn't have done this last year against Florida. Now all of a sudden you want to play like you give a general shit. Right? Nylander's in this scrum, by the way. Right? Nylander's... I actually got kind of fired up in that moment. But now looking back, hindsight 2020, of course. I'm like, hello? So anyway, there was a response in the third. And they played very well. And they buried the Ducks. And the Ducks needed those 2 points. That was cool. That was cool. I don't think... Not Ryan. I don't think that it's that... I'm getting there. I don't think it's that they don't like Matthews specifically. And I'm getting to what I think. And I have to give credit to the Overdrive guys, too, for what they said today, because I feel like there's a little bit of truth in what they said as well, based on what I was listening to. And I listened to a lot of stuff today, and this has not sat well with me again. I'll say that, like, I'm going to say it like 100 times all day. I was getting fired up watching this. My blood was boiling because I was like, Nylander actually looked like he was upset for once. And I'm like, that's all it took, huh? For your captain's need to get absolutely blown up and nobody to do anything in the moment. And the only reason they probably didn't, who thinks anybody on this team stood up in the dressing room in the second intermission and said something? It was probably Berube that came in and said, you guys are losers. Losers. Now, Berube, his system sucks, right? He doesn't get off scot-free here either, because the system, the way this team plays, that's probably got to change. And I've said it the last couple of weeks, the last couple of videos, doesn't work. At least not for this group. Right? If you want to get a couple guys that are like fourth liners and fill the team out with them, maybe you can grind down teams every night, whatever. I don't know if it's going to result in very exciting hockey or wins, but the system might work in that regard where everybody actually does it. But anyway, his system sucks. He's got to go too, I think, at the end of the day. Probably Brad Living too, but that's a conversation for another day. I don't think any of the guys stood up in the room. Like, I just don't see it. Who did? Tavares stood up? Hey guys, I was the captain before, and I like John Tavares. I love John Tavares. I don't see him being the one standing up in the room yesterday. It was probably Berube came in, kicked the garbage can, and said, you guys are losers. Losers for that lack of response. All 4 guys on the ice, like Berube said, should have been on Gudis in that moment. Should have been. Should have been. It's a joke. It's a joke. Then Cowan fights because Robertson, a guy that he cares for, gets dumped, right? And he goes, you're not going to do that. There wasn't even a thought in Cowan's head. He dropped the gloves immediately. I don't even know if he knew who it was. He ended up fighting Jackson Lacombe. I don't think he's the toughest guy, but he didn't even think for a second. He dropped his gloves and he said, you don't do that. You don't do that. But the other guys don't. And I want to take it back years. And I'm going to keep this on screen, this image on screen. The Montreal Canadiens series in 2021. I think it was Brendan Gallagher. I can't remember, and this is just the way I remember and how I feel about it. Do you guys remember the power play as our weapon thing from Mike Babcock? And it kind of bled over to the Sheldon Keefe era. The power play as our weapon. It never was. It never was. Right? And they had this whole mentality, I think, from Shanahan. The whole organization had this mentality of, like, don't feed into this shit. If somebody's punching you in the back of the head. You guys remember that clip? Matthews getting punched in the back of the head in the Canadian series and he's laughing. He got taken. I'm pretty sure in that moment he got taken to the box too. You should have turned around and hit the guy in the face, right? We've all seen how this works. Look at how the Lightning won their cup. Look at how the Panthers win their cup. You have to play like that. You have to play like you care. It comes from your heart. It comes from your heart. We all know this. I don't even have to preach this to... I don't know what I'm saying, right? Like, we all know this. And everybody in the chat going off as well. I know. And Paul Taylor, I totally agree. Berube was one of the toughest players. Like, I'm never going to take that away from him. I just don't think his system works. Like, I think that you probably got to wipe it clean at this point, right? Like, last night really left a sour taste in my mouth, to be honest with you. Jack brings up a good point, too. A good coach knows that what he has and creates a system that takes advantage of the players he has. Berube tried to run ram a square peg into a round hole. He has an offensive team and push a defensive system. Mostly because this team needs to play defense. They don't take care of the puck. We know that. And over the last 10 years or whatever, it's been a theme, right? You can't keep the puck out of your own net. Could be goalies, whatever. Anyway, everyone keeps saying Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves, remember what we were saying 365 days ago? Get this guy off the team. He doesn't fight anymore. Stop with the Ryan Reeves stuff. Stop, please. Stop. Reeves didn't fight in like an entire calendar year. No. Stop it. Everybody comes here. Look at Brandon Carlo. It happens. And I've said this for so long. Wayne Simmons, Nick Foligno. Who's the other guys that they got? I can't even think of them right now. All these tough guys they brought in over the years. Oh, they all come in and then they start playing like Auston Matthews all of a sudden. Why? Why is that? Because the top guys don't play with an edge. There was a philosophy here where, and this is the point I want to get to. There was a philosophy here of don't feed into that. We don't play that way. The power play, we're going to take the power play. The power play is our weapon. You can't win like that. You can't win like that in this league. You have to play angry to win. You just have, you just do. You have to want to squash your opponents. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. And why wasn't there a players? This is where I'll give credit to the Overdrive guys. Like, I'm not surprised, and Mike Johnson as well. I'm not surprised that there wasn't a players only meeting today, but how wasn't there? But even then, like, it's the Marner thing with the dry hair from last year where he's yelling at the bench. If I'm one of the guys on the bench, I'm like, this guy's yelling at me? And that goes for everyone on this team. Morgan's going to step up in front of the whole room and be like, guys, come on, guys. From this day on, we got to stand up for each other, whatever. The vibe would be like, this guy is telling me, and it goes for every single one of them. That's just the vibe I'm getting. And you saw it last year with Marner. Dry hair on the bench, telling the guys to get going. I'd be like, who is this guy telling me to get going? Right? It didn't come across as genuine. And he got dunked on for that clip as well. So I'm not surprised there wasn't a players only meeting. But how wasn't there where you go, guys, if you want to be here, if you want to be a Maple Leaf, this has to end today. This has to end today. And I feel like this is something that even Keith Pelly should come. I've seen the videos. Keith Pelly comes into the room. They do like presentations sometimes over the course of the year in terms of, hey guys, today we're doing this kind of initiative or whatever. I've seen video where he's in the dressing room talking to the team. Keith Pelly as a CEO has to come down and be like, if you are a Toronto Maple Leaf, like what's happened the last 10 years, those guys are gone. Those guys are gone. If you want to be here, you need to do this. We need to play with snot, right? And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But then you're gone. We'll make our decisions now, right? We'll make our decisions now. The whole team has to play that way. I'm sorry. And Matthews doesn't have to fight. He doesn't have to fight, right? Like how many fights does Sidney Crosby get into? How many fights did Wayne Gretzky get into? Maybe a couple. Connor McDavid fought last night, by the way, right? So maybe a couple. And Matthews does actually have a fight in his NHL career. But it has to stop. If you want to be a Leaf, it stops. It stops. You got to show something else. The rest of the way, I got to see stuff from certain guys. Like if it's just the same status quo, you got to talk to Rielly and be like, it's over, man. Like you give us a list. Give us a list. It's over. It probably should be over anyway. But if you don't want to be here and you're not playing with that, like that want, like think of the team. Like when I was growing up, like Sundin didn't fight, but it was like, we're going to go to war. Everybody follow me. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to get slashed. I'm going to get punched in the head. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to give it back. And you guys are going to war with me. We're all in this together. And guys like Tucker and all those guys like fell in line, and not even fell in line. It was just like, we are a team. Like nobody's messing with our guys. And there's none of that on this team. There's none of that. Zero. You saw it again last night. There's zero of it. I think you can get to a place where, and you probably do have to wipe it clean. I go back and forth because I have a really hard time trading Auston Matthews in my head because I know what's going to happen. But there's something rotten. There's something rotten, and I think that they have to be very honest with themselves and hold each other accountable. But they've never done it. But that's what has to happen if it was to ever turn around, right? And I just don't know if that's going to happen. So that is what it is. Paul, that is a interesting comment. Oh man, Gretzky bought Semenko a car to a car dealership to thank him for protecting him during his career. Exactly. I'm not like Matthews doesn't have to fight. This whole thing where it's like, oh, you should drop his gloves and fight or whatever. Like, we're not asking for that, but show something in your play that you actually do care for each other, because we've learned the opposite. We have learned the opposite here. So, you know, like, was anybody watch that game last night in the chat? Were you not fired up in the third period? I got fired up. Like, the way they were playing. I was like, this is super entertaining. This is the way you have to play. They actually look like they would stand up for each other. I'm very excited to see more of Easton Cowan. I don't know why he's getting scratched. I know he's a young player, but geez, man, you're not making the playoffs. Like, what are we doing? Notice how crappy the team has been playing since Marner left. No, man. That's so far away from the problem. Marner, did you see the report out of Vegas yesterday? We don't know where Marner fits with this team? Give me a break. Give me a break. Mitch Marner left, by the way. He left. This team should have traded him 3 years ago, and he left. They offered him a contract. They wanted him to stay. They offered him a contract, said no, and he left. So don't give me that garbage, please. Get that out of here. We know what happened. So this team needs more balls. And you're not going to find that externally. We've done that. We've done that over the years. We've done it. You brought in Wayne Simmons. Who am I missing? Give me some names. Who am I missing? I'm definitely missing players. They've done it in the past. They brought in all these guys to fill in the bottom of the lineup since like 2019 that were supposed to be tough guys, right? Like, they brought in Simmons. He was supposed to score some goals, be this tough guy. Nick Foligno. Like, none of it worked. None of it worked. Because it's the guys who are here. They don't have that, like, if you're playing in the bottom of the lineup and the top of the lineup, wouldn't go to war for you. Finished. I have a hard time thinking about trading Auston Matthews. Does anyone, like, did we start over? Did we start the rebuild? I have a much easier time, like most people, I think, but like much easier time trading William Nylander than Matt Martin. That's a good one. Kyle Clifford, perfect. Thank you, guys. I knew I was missing names. Thank you so much. Exactly. Like, you filled out the bottom. Rich Clune. Well, he was more with the Marlies. Marlies captain. Yeah. So, do we Komarov too? That's an interesting one. I feel like there's more names too, like big bodies. Okay, so everyone wants a rebuild. That's where we're going now. I think everyone's just sick of it. Like, we went through 10 years of it, and everyone's just like, I'm sick of their faces. I didn't think this season was going to go this bad, but when you don't have, like, the team doesn't have it. Like, they won't go to war for each other. They won't. So that's where we're at. Maybe we start the rebuild. Well, Auston Matthews is an Olympic champion. And a lot of people will say that he didn't do anything, and I would argue that you didn't watch the games. But I think 10 years of this, I mean, people are upset. It's hard to, like, if they made the playoffs again this year and they just kind of like limped into the playoffs, if you went to the building, you spent all that money, you would have it in the back of your head that this group probably can't get it done. So major changes do have to come. I'm not getting away from that, but I have a hard time trading Auston Matthews. I do. Personally, I know a lot of people want to start completely over, but it does start at the top. Like, I think the guy's got to look himself in the mirror and be like, and the exit interviews are going to tell all as well. Matthews is going to sit, like, everyone sits down with management and coaching. The coaches give, their thoughts on how the season went and all of that. And that's all taken into account, right? Because apparently a couple of years ago, like, the exit interviews were very interesting. And then last year, who was it? I can't remember the player. Oh, Morgan Rielly had a exit. They were going to move off Morgan Rielly, and his exit interview changed their minds, basically, which I wish it didn't based on what we've seen this year. But exit interviews for any team, even when I was working in the OHL, like, that tells all in terms of, like, you find out things that could change minds. And Matthews could come out and say, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he can come out and be like, I want to still be here, but all this has to change. And then management's going to look at that and be like, you know what, actually, maybe we do completely start over. I just hope that whatever they do, they don't half-ass it, basically. And I think getting rid of everything and keeping Matthews isn't half-assing, because he's a generational player and he's the captain of this team. And he's the best goal scorer in the history of this team's franchise. And I will say that he has scored this whole thing where, like, Nylander scores big goals. This whole thing where Matthews doesn't, I don't know if that's true. He scored some big goals for the Leafs that I can remember, at least. But all I know is that they can't half-ass a lot of these decisions this summer. Like, you got to go all in and quick. You can't be like, I think we're going to move off Morgan Rielly. Let's wait till the end of August. No. Have your exit interviews. Make a plan immediately. And we know how good they're so good at making plans. They are so good at making plans that they didn't have one heading into the Olympic break like they said they were going to. They didn't have one coming out of the Olympic break like they said they were going to have. For either scenario, by the way, because you can plan for either scenario. They didn't have a plan going into the trade deadline, and they don't have a plan coming out of the trade deadline. Yes. So that's all that is. That is all that is. Auston Matthews, if you're just joining us, out for the season. Out for the season with a grade 3 MCL tear, which is probably, he avoided the worst case scenario, I believe, in terms of injuries to the knee. Marner's having his, I don't want to talk that. I'm not talking, this is a Leaf stream. Don't have to talk about the guy that didn't want to stay here. That's fine. But he is statistically having one of his worst seasons, and probably the worst since 2019. But I also want to address something. Throw it in the chat. Yes or no? Because this has been a hot topic, and I want to address it here because I don't think we're making a video on it, because I don't think there's much to it, to be honest with you, besides out there on Twitter. Do you want Chris Pronger to work for this team? Who wants Chris Pronger to be like the general manager? Or, because I have something to say about that, because I've seen a lot of that the last couple of days. And he posted the CN Tower picture, and everyone's like, oh, he's the GM now. Do you want Chris Pronger to be the GM or the president of this organization? Let me know in the chat. Yes or no? Because, and I'm sure I'm going to get an influx of them here in a second, because this is a bit delayed. But why would you do that? Chris Pronger, and he's done some great stuff, and he had, he held a very high regard in the Florida Panthers organization, and I know that for a fact he came to check on players in the OHL, like certain draft picks, for the Panthers organization. A lot of yeses so far. He did work for Florida. I personally saw Chris Pronger checking in on players in his role with the Florida Panthers for certain players that were drafted. Doing that with, I think he was working in player development at the time. He's never been a general manager. He's never been a president or a vice president. I think that he could probably, again, like, do that somewhere else and then maybe come to Toronto. I'm a little skeptical of it. I don't know. He did work for the Florida Panthers for a while. I know that. And not only that, he's done some other stuff as well. But I'm skeptical of that. I think there might be some other options, maybe some younger guys. I mean, look what's happening in Pittsburgh right now with Dan Muse, right? Maybe try something like that. Well, that's a coach, obviously, but, something along the same lines. I don't really trust Brad Treliving anymore myself. And the reason I don't, because for those of you who've been around on the channel for a long time, I'm like, man, I love Brad Treliving like a year ago. The reason for that is because with my eyes, I could see that there's problems with the team and what the problems were. And I'm not in the room, obviously, but Brad Treliving would come out in press conferences and say the same things that I'm seeing. And I would go, perfect. He's seeing the same thing I'm seeing, right? And not everyone sees the game the same way, obviously. But then he didn't do anything about it. He didn't act at all on any of the things that he was saying. So now he's lost my trust, right? Now, I see a lot of names out there, and let's discuss it, right? I see a lot of names out there, coaches, from coaches to general managers to hiring new presidents. Doug Gilmour has never held a position like that ever. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it, but he's never held a position like that. And I feel like we'll go back to the dark ages of doing stuff like that. And, other teams that do that sometimes, it doesn't work out, right? So I would be very skeptical about that. Same with Wendell Clark. He's never held positions like that. Love the guys. Love the guys, right? And Leaf legends. Be careful about stuff like that. I wouldn't do that, and I don't think that's what I don't think that's the direction that they're going. There's a couple other names as well that a lot of people have been bringing up, like, you know, for different general managers and stuff like that. And Martin St. Louis never coached, you're right, but like that's Montreal. Like, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. I think we have another donation here from Canes. We do. Thank you, Canes, for the super chat here. Question here for a comment in a second. If the culture is sick, and we all agree it is, 91, 44, and 34 are to blame. Can you honestly say 34 has the same compete fire as a Barkov, McKinnon, McDavid, who get sick when they don't win? Well, I don't know. I mean, we're comparing players here, but I don't think Matthews enjoys losing. I looked like he had a great time finally winning something in the Olympics just based on his reaction. So, you know, does he have McDavid and McKinnon, by the way, are freaks, like how badly they want to win. And I admire them a lot for that. I do. But they're freaks. But you're right. And I mean, like 44, you got to talk this summer, like you got to figure something out there and bring in another defenseman. Doesn't have to be the same trade, but you got to figure something out there. 91, I love John Tavares. He can be a third line center, especially at that cap hit with the cap going up. You can't trade him either because he has a no movement clause. And I have a hard time in my head trading 34. Nylander just is what he is, by the way, in my mind. Like, he just is what it is. Like, I think you can win with certain guys like that floating around on your team. Like, there's been teams in the past that win with, like, certain players that just score goals, right? And they don't add anything defensively. But you got to buy in the playoffs. And he's had some big moments for the Leafs. So it makes probably a little bit too much for you to win with him floating around like that. But he is who he is at this point. Like, to say that I didn't see the play last night or whatever, and then, I don't know. He is what he is, man. Like, I'm kind of tired getting fired up about that because he is just who he is. But do we think other Leafs don't like Matthews? I don't think it's that other Leafs don't like Matthews or don't like that he's the captain. I think it's that they all just do not actually care about each other. Like, if one of my teammates got filled in like that, I would certainly have something to say about it immediately. So that is what it is. I've also seen the Hunter brothers as well. They've done a good job in junior hockey with the London Knights, and I also don't think they want to leave doing that either. So I don't know. I feel like there could be a conversation there, but we'll see about that. Tortorella, I wouldn't. Like, if you're going rebuild, I would get in like a younger coach too. So I wouldn't do Tortorella. I'm really hoping they can get a top 5 pick this year, because that would at least be a silver lining in a very horrible season. But that's what it is. Could the Leafs? Yeah, they could very well get a top 5 pick, 100%. Nylander is the Kessel of today. It's a interesting. I think Nylander is a better hockey player than Phil Kessel. But Phil Kessel has Stanley Cups. He ended up winning a Stanley Cup. 3. He didn't really play for the last one, but he was there. Yeah, I'll pop up the calendar again here. March 30th needs to no to John Tortorella. No. If you make a decision, the organization has to make a decision. If you are going to rebuild, bring in a younger coach. Also, I don't know, like, Brandon Pridham could maybe take over. I don't know. Because, like, a lot of these guys are assistant GMs. They'll present you ideas, but then the GM, like, has the final say at the end of the day, right? Like, the scouts will bring everything to you, and you make a decision based on that. So, that's for drafting, at least. But Morgan Rielly needs to go at the his ridiculous contract. Leafs will now go on a 5-game win streak. It'd be kind of cool, like, to see something the rest of the year from the rest of the team, like that lifeless corpse of a team. But something kind of stinks, man. Something Really that stunk bad last night. It really did. There ended up being a response in the third, but I wonder what that looked like in the room. Like, why did that wait for the third period? And then you score on the power play, whatever. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. With where you're at in the standings, I would have just beat them up and right there and then. I would have just had it done right there. Right there and then. I would like to, just to be clear, based on what I just said, I don't want them to win. I would like them to look better and like they actually care for each other. I want that top 5 pick. If they lose out, that would be the final nail in this season. Like, I would actually be so happy if they got a top 5 pick, especially in this draft. I feel like there's some really good players in the top 10, and that you can get depending on the order of the draft. Because I feel like it's one of those drafts that the top 5's not like, you know. Sorry, I just saw a comment here that guys asking for the Leafs to brawl the Ducks will just result in more injuries for the Leafs. We don't have the fighters. We also beat the Ducks. I know we were on a no. Welcome to hockey. Welcome to hockey. Gudis is going to answer. The bell is going to ring 3 times as soon as the puck drops. He's going to have to answer it. I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter if the Leafs don't have an enforcer like Colton or Ryan Reeves. Somebody, it could be Matthew Nyes, I don't care, has to, maybe all 5 guys on the ice. I don't care. He's going to get it. He's got to get it. It's just how it works, man. Look at I saw so many clips floating around Twitter today of the pack mentality from other teams. Like, look at Tampa. Like, somebody got belted one time a couple of years ago. All 5 guys, Stamkos, Sergachev, they're in on the one guy, beating him up. And then everyone from the other team comes in, right? And you got a 5-on-5 kind of thing going on in the corner. That's fine. But you do not mess with our guy. That's got to be the mindset, man. That's one of us. We're a team. And they don't have it. So I think Ivor Stenberg's going first overall, full disclosure. There's some really good players in this draft. Like Ethan Belchez from the Windsor Spitfires. I would enjoy a 6'6" centerman that can put the puck in the back of the net. That'd be cool. I would enjoy that. A lot of people saying they'll be a yes or no in the chat. Would they be a better team? Because I think it's no. Would they be a better team without Auston Matthews and William Nylander on it? Because in the immediate, no way. I don't think so. Would they look better? Maybe, because you're going to have guys on the team that are actually fighting for their livelihood and fighting for contracts in place of them. So I could see that. I just have a hard time trading Auston Matthews. We know what's going to happen. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to score 50 goals, 60 goals, something like that. It's going to happen. But he'll go to a different culture. I think they need to reset the culture a little bit here. I think we're at that point. I wouldn't be opposed to a rebuild anymore. Kind of sick of their faces, but we know what's going to happen if you trade a guy like Matthews. It's going to happen. Nylander, I think, would hurt a lot less. But have some conversations. There's got to be some difficult conversations at the end of this year, and I want to see what they do coming out of this little stretch here. Not little stretch, like what happened yesterday. I want to see what happens the next couple of games. I think you're going to get destroyed. And bring up the calendar again. There's a back-to-back this weekend against Buffalo, by the way, who's decimating everyone, and Minnesota. Like, good luck, man. Good luck. And then, like, it doesn't get easier. Look at the rest of the schedule. The Islanders, Matthew Schaefer's going to rip you apart at home, of course. Hurricanes, top team in the league. Ottawa Senators are fighting for their playoff lives. You play the Bruins for the right to the top 5 pick, it seems like, at the end of the month. Rangers have been playing a lot better recently. The Blues have been playing a lot better recently. And then we have UFC Fight Night on March 30th. So, mock Nylander trades, based on what we've seen. I mean, if Robert Thomas, I know Robert Thomas is a center, but if he was going to get the equivalent of 3 top 15 picks, that's what the report was. It's somewhere in and around there. Nylander can score 50 goals. Like, somebody would be adding 50 goals to their team. But I have to be honest, like, I need something in terms of a report in the offseason. I can't say it right now, but I need some type of report, something to come out from the team, something to come from an exit interview, something to come from the organization themselves after those exit interviews to make me change my mind on trading Auston Matthews if he does not want to be here or whatever it is. We don't know, right? By all indication, he still wants to be here. On him specifically, as the captain. But I think this organization could benefit from a roster change. Not roster change, like a deep cleaning. A deep cleaning Auston Matthews out for the season. But interesting. Trade Matthews, but not Nylander. That's an interesting one. Can I get a shout out? Yes, you can. There you go. Heat X66. There you go. But I don't think this current culture is not permanent, by the way. I've seen the Toronto Maple Leafs play with an edge. In like 2013, that team played with some, they were kind of in your face the way they played. Or they weren't a very good team, but they played in your face. And they had Phil Kessel. But Nylander for Adam Fox, I wouldn't do that. Adam Fox is, I wouldn't do that. I think you need younger pieces. Top 5 pick also changes things. If you get that top 5 pick, I think the mindset of certain things. Because if Boston does end up getting your pick this year, then it's kind of like, what you got to figure out like another new plan, I guess. But the guys that are getting paid to come up with plans should be coming up with plans for X, Y, and Z scenarios. So we'll see what happens there. But not gonna lie, I think they make the playoffs next year. I mean, guys will be healthy again. Chris Tanev is a difference maker. He's also older, right? But like the whole thing we've been saying, like to discredit that injuries were a factor this year, they were definitely a factor. But you can't come out after the season if you're Keith Pelly and go, we were injured this year and that's why everything happened. No. This team looked like it gave up with some nights, right? When Pat Quinn was the coach and GM, they were pretty good. He didn't put up with any nonsense. Neither did Pat Burns. Exactly. And then there was a decade of misery. And then they came back and we all thought that they were back. And then somewhere in 2020 or 2021, they, found themselves with the identity of being soft. Yeah, the West is crazy profit. The Blues are 6 points out of a playoff spot. The Leafs are what, 15? That's great. And the Blues they've had a much worse season, I think. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's where we're at, though. So what I would do, how I would address this, if I'm Keith Pelly, I'm the new CEO here, right? I run the things and whatever, or I pass the message down to Brad Treliving. If you want to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, this is the way it is now. You need to stand up for each other. You need to have that. It's just not in their DNA, and it hasn't been this entire time. But unfortunately, you have to do that now, right? You don't have to. We'll get rid of you. But I think ideally, you hang on to generational player Auston Matthews. Ideally. But that is where we're at. That is where we are at. This team is so exhausting. 5 games was the max with a phone call. Have we gotten an update on that, by the way? I'm going to check now. I don't think anything came down in terms of what Gudas got. Oh, he did 2 minutes ago. So oh, wow, look at this. Live on stream, ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. Radko Gudas has been suspended by the NHL. I'll get this up for you guys in a second. 2 minutes ago. Look at that. Breaking news live on stream. Radko Gudas has been suspended by the NHL for 5 games for kneeing Toronto's Auston Matthews. Should be longer. But he has officially been suspended for 5 games. Now, I want to look at the Ducks' schedule. I would imagine they play more than 5 games between now and March 30th. But I just want to make sure. So he is going to win. He's going to miss Saturday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He will definitely be back for March 30th. So there we go. So he'll be back in the lineup March 30th, and he's missing 5 games. I don't think it's enough, but that is it. I heard a Leaf talk about Quinn personally, and he said Quinn was a failure. Interesting. I mean, made a couple conference finals. Should have been more, but is the max for a phone hearing. That's what it is. So, yeah, March 30th, the puck isn't out there. The puck is not out there. How many games did Morgan get for his high stick in Ottawa? That is a great. I think it was also 5 games. 4 games, 5 games, I'm pretty sure. Spezza, remember that knee? Spezza got 6 games for that. 6 games for that. Which, looking back, I saw the clip again today. Bad play. A little dangerous. Little dangerous. I think, well, I just wanted to get on here and rant a little bit with you guys, get your guys' thoughts as well. But Auston Matthews, I mean, this has not sat well with me all day. This team has serious problems. I really don't want to be the guy that runs these guys out of town, like that whole narrative or whatever. But this has to change. This has to change, whether with these guys or not. This has to change. Nobody wants this. That was disgusting to watch. Disgusting. When we're used to like 20 years ago, guys, like you want to play that game? You want to play with us? Really? And Tucker going over to the Ottawa bench and punching guys from the ice. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the game's changed, but that mindset, that feeling, the heart. It's anyway. We got Canada versus the US right now in the World Baseball Classic. Might leave it off there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just wanted to come on here, like I said again, and rant a little bit. I felt a certain way about it. Was not feeling good all day. Something's got to change, whether it's with some of these players or not. And again, I don't think the time right now is to talk about trading Auston Matthews. He's the captain of his team. If he does want to go, then you got to trade him, obviously. Like, don't keep him around any longer. Figure out what he wants to do, but that's going to be a conversation for the offseason. A lot of my thoughts will, on where they should actually go will depend on, like, we just got to sit through, I guess, 16 more games of this, to be honest, because I need some inkling from the exit interviews of where this is going, because I have no idea. And there's also something about MLSE listens to fans, by the way, like they're listening very closely to what everyone's saying. So the reaction in the arena, the reactions online. Now, you shouldn't make decisions based on what fans or media, for that matter, say. You should have your own internal, especially players. Bobby McMahon saying that it's tough to play here. Give me a break, dude. Give me a break. And the whole Mitch Marner thing where he had to, guys were telling him to delete social apps. You should not care about maybe what the fans say. Sure, obviously, if you're not performing, because like that's what they're gonna say, you're not performing, and let's pick it up, buddy. You make a lot of money, but you shouldn't care what the media has to say. Like, even me myself here, right? I have my thoughts, but you shouldn't care if you're a player. There's internal expectations. You need to reach those expectations. Are you playing well or not? Focus on that, right? Am I executing on what my coach is telling me to do? And if I am, and we're still losing, maybe it's the coach's fault. Like, it's really not that hard. But anyway, thought that was ridiculous. Darius, you realize Matthews is out until December, right? No, he's not. Well, he'll be reevaluated. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Depending, he may need surgery, he may not, based on what I was reading on the injury itself. So, we'll find out in 2 weeks. But it seems like we've avoided the worst case scenario. He should be back for the season. I think he can resume off-season skating and all that. So no, don't carry that stuff till December. I don't think he is. They've avoided worst case scenario. If it was a PCL, meniscus, ACL, it would have been a lot worse. With the injury that he has, like, he'll be back to training in the off-season for sure. So thank you, everyone. I don't think anyone said, is this new? Is this new? No, I remember the media running a lot of players out of town. It happens very often. I mean, you could say that they did it to Phil Kessel. I would say that they didn't give Phil Kessel enough good players to insulate him, and they wanted Phil Kessel to play defense. Like, as ACL, meniscus, PCL, way worse injuries than MCL. Way worse. You can Google it. I'm not a doctor. You can Google it. The recovery time for a grade 3 MCL tear is like 8 weeks. He'll be back to training in the offseason. They shut him down for the season because there's no point. Why would you rush the guy back from an injury like this? Make sure you're 100% and you come back for next year. So, yeah, all professional athletes, by the way, It's not even, you can have social media, but if it bothers you, delete it. It exists. It exists out there. If it bothers you, get rid of it then. But thank you everyone for tuning in. We will wrap it up there. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, their thoughts, but just wanted to spill my thoughts out for about an hour there, I guess. Yeah, 1 hour we were live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back with a video tomorrow morning. There's going to be the Leafs play tomorrow in Buffalo. There's going to be surely some comments from teammates. There's going to be comments from Craig Berube. Nick and I will have a video for you guys in the morning, but that is the update. Auston Matthews this is what we know. Before I wrap up, Auston Matthews is out for the season with a grade 3 MCL tear and also a contusion of his quad, which is a bruise of his quad muscle. This is basically the description of a grade 3 MCL tear. It's a complete rupture. It's a complete tear. Here's what that looks like, by the way, compared to, a healthy MCL, a grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. So it's a complete tear, which is obviously not ideal. And Radko Gudas has been suspended as a result for the maximum 5 games with his phone here. So he's been suspended 5 games. He should have been suspended more. And Matthews, he's done for the year, but should be able to resume off-season training, and he should be okay. Maybe I'm completely speaking out of turn here, but based on everything I've heard, they've avoided the worst-case scenario with this. So that is what that is. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it on this spontaneous stream. Again, we'll be back for some more content tomorrow. Leafs play tomorrow. Leafs play Sunday as well. Woohoo! And we'll see how they respond. We'll see how they respond. And I'm very excited to watch March 30th against the Ducks in Anaheim. That should be a very fun game. Let's hope they continue to lose. Let's hope they get that 5th overall pick. Or, hey, maybe they get the 1st overall pick. Let's hope they get a top 5 pick. That would be a very nice silver lining for this season. But that's it. That is it. Not great news. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be around tomorrow. And, hey, if you're new here, 4 subscribers till 24,100. So if you want to make that happen, hit that subscribe button. You get to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs, whether you like them or not. I see you guys in the comments. A lot of people like to keep up to date with the Leafs misery as well. So whatever you want, let us know. But there's going to be a lot of room to talk about what the Leafs need to do in the future, and we'll keep you up to date with all of that on the channel as well. But hopefully Auston Matthews gets well soon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll be back with some more content and all that good stuff tomorrow.
Digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends untold. From first pop drop to the seasons fold.